So I just filmed this whole thing and realized I wasn't recording audio. So let's try this again. Hey guys, it's Sarah from Just My Typewriter, and I get asked pretty often, how many typewriters do you actually own? And the truth is, I've stopped counting. So today I decided to do a collection update, tell you about some of the new typewriters in my collection, where they came from, and we're going to break down the numbers of the typewriters that live in this home, because there's a lot. So these are some of my new typewriters in my collection that I've collected over the past few weeks, some of these in the last few days, and you might recognize one of these typewriters. This is an Olivetti Linea 98, and if you've seen some of the videos on my channel before, you'll know that I actually sold an Olivetti Linea 98 a few months ago in my Selling My Typewriters video, and I was scrolling through OfferUp, an app where you can sell items locally, and I saw someone posting a picture of an Olivetti Linea 98, and I clicked on it and immediately recognized this typewriter as my own. And you can tell because there's a sticker on a button next to the space bar. So I checked out this listing and realized it was the same person I sold it to. I messaged them immediately and said, hey, if you're getting rid of this typewriter, I will happily take him back. I'd rather take him and have him here in my home in my collection than have him go to some kind of key chopper or someone who's not going to take good care of him. And she immediately messaged me back and told me that they were moving halfway across the country and he was just too heavy to take with them. But then she offered a solution, and she said, would you be willing to trade one of your smaller typewriters? And I said, oh boy, yeah. So I actually decided to trade my Royal Aristocrat from the 1950s, which you would recognize from my Drawband Nightmare video, back for this Olivetti Linea 98. So we just switched out typewriters so she could take a more portable typewriter with her, and I could take back this monster Olivetti named Orso. And then a week later, a family friend was at a yard sale and they saw a typewriter and immediately just picked it up and dropped it off at my house. So I ended up with this $10 Remington travel writer, and I'm really excited to play around with this one. But sometimes when you tell people that you're a typewriter collector, they'll see them, they don't know what they're worth or what their value is. If they're cheap enough, they'll just pick them up and leave them at your house, which is how I've ended up with quite a few of the typewriters in my collection. Another really cool story is that I was recently on a podcast for Austin Typewriter Inc., and I will share a link to that in the description below. I did an interview with them in January about typewriters and my typewriter collection, and I mentioned in that interview that I had had one bad Facebook Marketplace interaction with somebody when I was trying to buy a first ultra portable. I wanted a Corona Zephyr for my collection, which is an ultra portable typewriter. It actually inspired my first Facebook Marketplace video that I've done on this channel. But short story, I didn't end up with that typewriter. And so after I did the interview with Austin Typewriter Inc., they actually offered to send me a Skywriter after the interview so that I could have an ultra portable in my collection. So Dave from Austin Typewriter Inc. sent me this Smith Corona Skywriter so that I could have an ultra portable in my collection. And I'm so excited to try it. Ultra portables are really super tiny, so they can fit anywhere. They're really great travel typewriters, and I'm excited to start experimenting with this one. And then, that same weekend, I was going to be traveling to Chicago for a type-in. You can watch the video about that. I have a link to it in the description as well. But on that trip, I was gifted this Royal Safari. I actually traded a machine for it. I traded my Olympia SM9 for this Royal Safari from the 1960s. And what's really cool about this machine is that it has a script typeface, which means it kind of types in cursive. I was so excited to try out this machine, and I was really excited to trade it with another collector because it means we both get to expand our collections in the direction that we'd like to take them. So these are some of my new guys, and I decided after I had these new typewriters, I needed to do a quick count of how many typewriters are actually in this house because it's kind of getting out of hand and I should know my limits. So I went through my house and counted all the typewriters that live here, and here's a breakdown by numbers. At the moment, I have 20 manual typewriters. Yeah, I have 20 manual typewriters. 12 of those are portables in all kinds of different shapes, sizes, colors, and styles, and 8 of those are manual typewriters, big desk ones like this Olivetti, which means they're huge and hard to store. I don't know how they all fit in my room. I also have 5 electric typewriters, 2 Barbie typewriters, 1 toy typewriter, 1 We Are Memory Keepers typewriter, which I don't really count as a typewriter, and also 1 typewriter that lives in this house and belongs to my mom. So I don't count that as part of my collection. It's the only way I stay under 30. If you break those down by brand, I have 4 Smith Coronas, 8 Royal typewriters, 1 Olivetti, 2 Olympias, 2 Remingtons, 2 IBMs, and 4 Underwoods. Well, and 2 Barbie typewriters. The oldest machine in my collection is from 1922. That's my Royal 10 Louis. I actually did a restoration video, and you can watch that here on this channel as well. One of my larger restoration projects, and he's just a beautiful typewriter. And the newest manufactured typewriter in my collection, they're not really typewriters, but the Barbie typewriter that I have is from 2006. And then I do have a We Are Memory Keepers typewriter, which was manufactured in like 2018, 2019. I also have quite a few typewriters that need repaired at the moment. That's just the nature of collecting these antique items. So I do have 2 major project typewriters at the moment. I have a Royal 10 from the 1930s and an Underwood Model 6 that I have to clean up and repair. And then I have a few that just need some minor fixes. I have a Remington. I have another Royal Aristocrat that needs fixed, my Barbie 2006 typewriter, and my electric Olympia. Now, if you were to ask me what my favorite typewriter is at the moment, it changes by the day. But I have been really liking my Underwood portable machines, which is not a fan favorite of typewriter collectors, but I've really liked the ones that I've ended up with. And if you were to ask me my least favorite typewriter at the moment, I'm always gonna say that I do not like the Royal Portables from the 1950s. And I know that's a hot take and not everybody's same opinion. I've just never had a good one, and I've always had repair issues on that style of typewriter. So if you have a Royal Quiet Deluxe and you love it, that's awesome. I'm so glad you found one that works for you. Just not my style. I have 2 right now. I have a Royal Aristocrat and a Royal Quiet Deluxe, and I finally got rid of my other Royal Aristocrat, so at least I only have 1 of those. But they're just not my favorite typewriters, and even when they are working, I'm not a big fan of the typing style on those when I have something like a Smith Corona Classic 12 that I can use instead. I was excited to try some of these new typewriters in my collection, so I did a quick check on the Remington and the Royal Safari, and a really great way to test new machines is to write a longer piece just to see all the quirks in the machine. So I decided to write 2 pen pal letters using the 2 new typewriters in my collection, and I really liked both of them. This Remington is super snappy. It has a really great response to it, and I really enjoyed playing around with that. And then I did get to try the Royal Safari with the script font, and it's beautiful to read the imprints after this. The font itself is just so gorgeous. I'm not a big fan of this plastic bar across the front underneath my fingers, but I'm gonna get used to it because I am really excited to play around some more with this typeface. So that's been a quick collection update of the machines in my collection living in this house. I don't know where they all are. They're just kind of stuffed in different places, and I hope they're okay. Please don't let me get any more. If you count them all up, I have 20 manuals, 5 electrics, so that's 25. I have 2 Barbies, so that's 27. I have the We Are Memory Keepers, so that's 28. And I have 1 toy typewriter. Do we count that as a typewriter? No, so I have room to grow. So that's been a quick collection update from me. It could change any minute, any moment. Someone could drop another one off at the front door. If you're interested in more typewriter content, check out some of the other videos on this YouTube channel. I've referenced a lot today about some of the videos that these guys were in, and you never know what you're going to find when you're looking at typewriters. If you want to get live collection updates, you should follow me on Instagram at just.my.typewriter. I want to thank you so much for watching today and remind you that you're just my typewriter.